here's the thing. For everybody listening, don't make the same mistake the Bengals just did in any facet of your life.
People are going to get hurt. It's the hockey season.
What about the Jared Cook play on the sideline?
I was very tempted to just put defense.
I'm saying it right now. If Anthony Davis is out for the playoffs, they don't make it out of the first round.
Come on, Austin and I have been saying this ever since Joe Burrow got injured.
I don't really think the Dodgers are going to make the World Series this year. I feel like they'll make it to the NLCS.
The Fernando Tatis extension, because that really surprised me.
Like you said, Ovechkin, he's getting older. He hasn't been playing as well as I imagined. He's one of the greatest goal scorers of all time, but he hasn't started off this season as hot as I would hope.
Hi, I'm Jeff Allen, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL Opinions of the Week. Week 3 is already started. We had Thursday Night Football tonight. We are recording before that game, but this doesn't really affect that because there are 2-0 teams is what we're going to be talking about. Are some contenders and which one are pretenders? I have an opinion. I've already shared one opinion with Austin, but there are other teams. And then there's another, let's see. And the man that has his own list, and then we'll be talking about our differences, Austin.
So there's a lot of teams here that maybe shouldn't be 2-0, and it's just because of their schedule. There's some teams that are definitely should be 2-0, that they are just that good. And some teams that I do believe we need to wait and see how they progress against other opponents. Let's start in the AFC, Kevin, but I'll let you decide who you want to start with.
Let's start with the reigning Super Bowl champs, back-to-back Super Bowl champs, the Chiefs. And this is one I'm struggling with because from previous, they should be labeled contenders. So I'm going to give them contenders because they've done it before. They've done it twice. However, I still have questions about this team.
As well, but I'm going to say contenders just because of what's synonymous with Andy Reid, Mahomes, and this Chiefs lineup over the past 5 years. So I will give them contenders. They find a way to win.
Yeah, and they've done it, which to me gives them versus let's see, which I'll go into another team. I'll ask you about the Bills.
The Bills are another one that I need to see, but I am pretty confident that they've figured out some things. So I will say contenders as well.
To me, this is a let's see. Because there have been some great plays from the Bills in the past, but I want to see more in the following weeks with Josh Allen. What do teams do to force to push him to be patient? Because he doesn't have a great wide receiving core. He has James Cook. It's more of a wide receiving committee, and this is a big test for him as his quarterback level. And to me, teams are going to press on that. And I want to see how they do that and how he responds to that.
Yeah, this is a big year for the Bills, so we'll have to see how they progress.
But yeah, all right. Now I'll let you choose the next AFC team.
Let's go Steelers. I'm going to say pretenders. This is mainly because I don't think they have the offensive firepower for them to win games. I love their defense. I love their coach. But contenders, no, I don't think it can happen this year.
Yeah, I agree. Pretenders. It just seems really early. They're a team that will be good, but I don't know if they can be dangerous in the playoffs just because of quarterback issue. Justin Fields has done well, but to me, what's going to happen when Russ gets healthy? Is it going to be Justin Fields' team? How is that going to go? And what are teams? To me, there's a big teams can start off hot, and then there's more film about what they're doing, and teams will attack them differently. And that's something I remember, was it maybe year 2 of our podcast? The Carolina Panthers. I believe this was Matt Rule's first season with the Panthers.
Yeah, I think it was Sam Darnold who started.
Yes, Sam Darnold started. And the Cowboys beat them, and everyone's like, oh, it's a huge win. And then I don't think the Panthers won another game. And it was like, okay, yeah, that was way overhyped. And to me, that just defenses rebound and coaches go, okay, this is what they're doing. How can we stop that? There's an adjustment throughout the season. And to me, I think that's going to happen to the Steelers offensively. Their defense is always going to be great, but is Justin Fields going to continue to do this? And they're not hitting at an incredibly offensive rate right now. First game, 18 points. Second game, 13 points. And then I'm curious what they're going to do in week 3.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, so the team, I think we can go to the team that they will be playing against. One team will lose, the Chargers.
The Chargers, I like how they've progressed as a team, but they're not contenders. I'm going to say pretenders. I like J.K. Dobbins, but they just don't have enough wide receiver threats. Slide McConkey's good, but after that, Joshua Palmer, some of their other guys, I'm not that confident in. They're consistently injury prone. Their defense looks better than last year, but that's just because it's healthy. I'm going to say pretenders.
My question is, contender is playoffs, correct, or top team?
I think contenders necessarily playoffs. They will. I think contenders will win a playoff game.
Ooh. Yeah, I think
because the Steelers, I think, have a chance of making the playoffs just because they're always above 500, right?
Yes,
but I don't consider them contenders.
Yeah,
And you agree with that. So
yeah, I think I'm gonna put Chargers in. Let's see, because they have the talent. You have Justin Herbert, who I think.
But Kevin, their 2 wins are against the Raiders and the Panthers.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So yeah, maybe you can have him in. Let's see. That's not. I don't think it's stupid, but I definitely am leaning heavily towards pretender, just because they could have won these games anyways with them being just as good as they were last year.
Yeah, and to me, it's okay. They're taking care of teams they should take care of. What do they look like against top teams? What do they look like against
with the Steelers? We didn't give them the benefit of the doubt. They played kind of the same schedule, right? The Falcons definitely didn't look like they were going to be at the end of the year. I still think the Falcons could be a good team if they figure everything out. And they played the Broncos. So the Broncos are kind of like the Panthers, and the Raiders are kind of like the Falcons. I mean, the Falcons are 1-1, the Raiders are 1-1. It's a very similar situation. Except the Chargers are, I think, getting even more concerning a little bit because it's a new head coach, new system. So we don't know how this is going to progress against actually harder teams because we haven't seen it all.
To me, what separates the Chargers and Steelers is the quarterback. I trust Justin Herbert. I was a big fan of Justin Fields, but I don't know. And to me, I don't think it's going to go well. I know Arthur Smith did well with the Titans as an offensive coordinator. He had some questionable play calling with the Falcons as their head coach. So I just don't trust their offense and that group. I trust Justin Herbert.
Offense isn't everything, and I definitely trust the Steelers' defense as being elite this year. I think it's stymie any team and win any game because of that. That's why they always go above 500. That's why they're always making the playoffs or having a chance to, because of how good their defense is, and that is something.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards pretender, but I want to see before I exactly say it with the Chargers.
I think I'm more confident in the Steelers being contenders than the Chargers.
Okay.
But I have both of them in pretender.
Got it. All right. So that, I think we have one more team in the 2-0 on the AFC side, and that is the Texans.
The Texans wait and see. Their offense does not look as confident or as good as I'd want to see. Both of the teams they've beaten are 0-2. The Colts lost to the Packers and the Bears before. Or no, the Bears did end up winning that game. But that offense was horrible in the game they ended up winning. These just aren't the greatest opponents they faced. But I am more confident about the team, so I'll put it in let's wait and see.
I'm going to agree. I'm going to put them in a wait and see because they are on paper, such a great team. And they have, I'm talking about quarterback with Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud. I am very high on him. And I'm concerned about their defense. And their offense didn't play well against the Bears. I know the Bears have a good defense, but this is a team that went out and spent on offense. And to put what was it, 20 points? Or was it the exact game for that Sunday Night Football? It was not even 20 points, 19-13. Caleb Williams, I think Caleb Williams is learning, but they had a chance to win the game. And to me, that concerns me with just where the Bears offense is at, where their offensive line is at, and with a young quarterback that is learning through the league. So I want to see what they do, but I definitely think they have the chance to become contenders, but they got to prove it to me.
I think I agree with that.
So now we go over to the NFC, and I'll talk about the team where I view them as pretenders, and we're going to disagree on this because we had a talk, and I may be biased, just given how they absolutely pummeled the Cowboys, and they've also pummeled the Panthers. To me, the Saints are pretenders because I don't trust this offense. I think it's going to do great for a few weeks, and then I was looking at their schedule. They play
Eagles.
Eagles, I'm not sure about their defense. Falcons could be a good defense, but when I see the Saints facing the Chiefs and the Buccaneers, to me that's going to face a lot of time. Also with the Falcons, they have some great defensive coordinators, and I think they're going to have enough film from this season to really eliminate that Saints offense and get them down to earth quickly.
Yeah, I completely disagree. I have them as contenders, not even wait and see. I don't need to see anymore. Their defense is that good, Kevin. Like I said, if they scored, let me put it this way. If they scored half of their points, they'd be 2-0. Half. If their offense was half as good, half, they'd be 2-0. That's all you really need to see. Their defense is still elite. I don't need to see their offense put up 40. They just need to score 20 points. Again, we're talking about a Falcons team that only put up a couple points against the Steelers. The Eagles only put 21 against the Falcons. I could easily see the Saints scoring, again, their average amount of points being low, with 20 points, 22 points, and then winning a lot of games. Their offense is going to come down to earth, and I don't think it matters.
Right. Yeah, we're in disagreement on this, so this will be an ongoing talk in our weekly episodes, I am sure. To me, their offense can sustain drives now, and when they're not able to do that, which I am feeling I would say I'm feeling pretty confident. Well, this could be a future drop. To me, that's going to put their defense on the field more, which is going to just have them tired, and they're not going to be as great as they were.
But the Steelers or a lot of other teams that they get no drives, they scored no points, and they still end up winning games. And the Saints defense is tenured. Marshall Lattimore didn't even play against the Cowboys, and they held 19 points. Again, I think the bigger conversation is how good their defense is and their offense. I understand they're not going to score 40 like they have like the last 3 games. Sure, that's fine. They don't need to. They don't need to. If their offense was half as good, which I definitely think they could be half as good, they'd still be 2-0.
All right. So yeah, that's the big disagreement is the Saints, which will be an ongoing thing. And now the Buccaneers, a team, two 2-0 teams in the NFC South. Who would have thought?
Contenders.
I'll let you go first. Contenders. I feel
they
like
beaten,
saying contenders.
Their games they've won. Yes, sure, they beat Washington, but they really dominated that Lions game, and they did it without scoring too many points. They will score more. Mike Evans was not really that heavily involved. He will be in the future, obviously, like he was in week 1. Sure, they need better running backs at times. Rashad White struggled, but Bucky Irving looks like he's really, really good, and they could have another guy coming up. Their defense is definitely worse than it was last year, but I think their offense is better. Their defense is still good, and I'm confident in this team being a contender in I would say, the weaker conference of the two, so I can see a lot of people coming out of it, and Baker's playing amazing. The offense looks amazing, and I'm definitely confident in this team being a contender.
To me, I am going to settle. I'm going to agree. they are a contender because they won a playoff game last year. And this is a big I was wondering if they could prove it, but beating a team like the Lions, who I think are going to rebound from this loss, shows a lot about how they feel. And Todd Bowles, it's been a wild ride because I remember in the Super Bowl, I was like, he should get a head coaching shot. Then after his first year of head coaching with the Buccaneers, it looked okay. They still made the playoffs, but it was okay. They've struggled. Then he made the playoffs again, and we'll have to see. So I do have to say they will win a playoff game and definitely be close in winning a playoff game. So contender, you have 2 contenders in the NFC South, and I'll let you choose the next team.
Let's go to the Vikings. I'll let you go first on this one.
So this, I feel like saying pretender, but I want to go let's see. Because Sam Darnold doesn't have to be great. He just has to do enough to get the ball to his wide receivers, Justin Jefferson. Their defense has been playing well. They have a great defensive mind in Brian Flores. And there is that they played the Giants. Of course, the Giants look to be a terrible team, but facing a Niners defense and doing well, even there were injuries on the Niners offense. To me, I want to see more. I want to see if Sam Darnold is kind of the Sam Darnold we talked about earlier with the Carolina Panthers and that team, or could this actually be what people thought in like glimpses we've seen of Sam Darnold?
Wait and see. And it's not even because of anything really on the offensive side. Yes, they have Justin Jefferson. Yes, they have Aaron Jones. Yes, I like their O-line's playing well. This is more about the fact that I think they have the best coaching staff throughout in the entirety of the NFC. Because DeMeco Ryans and Robert Saleh kind of left the coaching tree of the 49ers. And yes, I like Kyle Shanahan. But if we're talking about the entirety of a team from offensive mind, Kevin O'Connell, and then you got the defensive coordinator, Brian Flores, it doesn't get any much better than that. And I think that makes you almost a contender in yourself. I definitely have them as we'll wait and see because I need to see how Sam Darnold ends up handling the pressure in some bigger games. But they've beaten some good teams. They have dealt with a little bit of injuries too, and they're still 2-0 coming out of it. So I will have them and we'll wait and see.
Yeah, on your coaching staff point, you do make a good argument, which is fully.
Who would you have? Staff. Who would you have above in the NFC?
I'm kind of pushing for the Lions. Dan Campbell, their offensive coordinator. I know their defensive coordinator is Aaron Glenn.
It's Ben Johnson is their OC.
Ben Johnson, yes, that's their OC. To me, I think
this has been a rough start for Ben Johnson and their offense for the Lions. So I'm still going to lean Vikings. But, I mean, if you just look at all the teams, I guess, besides the Bears, the NFC North, it has a surplus of great coaching talent.
Yeah, and to me, I see Ben Johnson as a guy who garnered attention as a head coach last year. And then you also have Aaron Glenn, who I think is going to garner some attention as well. But yeah, I know Ben Johnson has struggled a little bit, and that offense has really struggled. Just not what we've expected from them. But to me, I put an argument for that, Dan Campbell. And I do think the Niners coaches are going to garner some attention as head coaches, but we'll have to see about that. So, but yeah, back to 2-0 Vikings. And now we have Seahawks, which is new coaching staff. They are 2-0. First time, I believe, not in their history. Or did I read that correct? There's a stat. Did you see that stat or no?
Regarding what again?
I believe the Seahawks were 2-0, and it was the first time in a long time that they were 2-0.
I did not see that stat.
Mike McDonald becomes the first Seahawks head coach to start his career. Oh, never mind. This is a sort of LeBron stat to start his career in Seattle 2-0. I thought it was Seahawks head coach to go 2-0, but
No, that's
Yeah.
that's extremely specific.
yeah. Okay, so not as fun, but they are 2-0. And
I like how
I'm
they're
gonna give you-
they're looking. I'm gonna say I'll wait and see though. Their O line is atrocious. Atrocious. It may be the worst pass blocking O line in the NFL. It's really close. But well, who are you gonna say?
Bears question mark.
Yeah, but the Seahawks are so bad.
Which is I haven't watched a ton of their games lately, but I remember 2
The
years
Seahawks
ago.
had 2 safeties against the Broncos.
Wow.
2 safeties. 2 safeties. Their O line is so bad. It's.
And
I'll
2
wait and
years
see.
ago,
I love how Gino's
they've
playing.
invested. I'm surprised by that.
Yeah, I love Gino. I love how he's playing. Their wide receivers, they have a really good wide receiver room between Lockett, JSN, and DK Metcalf. Their defense looks good. Not great, but good. We'll have to see how they progress. Their D-line still concerns me a little bit. But I'll have them and I'll wait and see. Their opponents, the Patriots and the Broncos, aren't, let's say, not the highest, not the best. It's the rematch of the Super Bowls. It's the Super Bowl rematches because the Seahawks play the Broncos and the Patriots. But they start the year 2-0, and I'm cautious, but I'll say I'll wait and see.
I think I'm going to side with you on wait and see because this is a team, they have a lot of talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball. You mentioned their defensive line, but I like Mike McDonald. He did well with the Baltimore Ravens defense. And there does seem to be some faith with Geno Smith, just given the incredible season that he had a few years ago. And I think he can reclaim that, and he is stacked with options. I do think Kenneth Walker is dealing with an injury, but they do have a run game. However, that is hurt by their offensive line. So I'm going to go wait and see because this is also new offensive coordinator, and we'll have to see. But there could be some hope with the Seahawks, and I believe that concludes all our 2-0 teams. Yes, because there are no 2-0 teams in the NFC East. So I'll let you take this one out, Austin.
Yeah. So I had no pretenders in the NFC. You had one. We both had pretenders in the AFC. But we'll see how this ends up turning out. You can't start better than 2-0. Obviously, I guess you could start better by just not being as injured, but the goal to start the season is 2-0, and that's what these teams have done. Let us know who you think are pretenders, contenders, or who you want to wait to see. And we'll come back to this in probably a couple weeks to kind of see how these teams have rolled out. And if there's any other contenders we want to talk about. Thank you again.